Welcome to The Life, a show whose viewers can say, I live fully empowered. I am your host, Dr. TJ Dickson, and on today's show, my co-host Oanh Heiser and our special guest, Tracy Wells, will discuss going to the core to build teamwork. Let's get started. So Oanh, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, the name of my business is COURE. It's spelled C-O-U-R-E. And the U is intentional because I believe it's about going to the core to discover you. That self-revelation is so important. It's so important in our development to do that paradigm shift to really make an impact in our lives. But I want to take it a step further, not just in our own lives, but in our organizations that we serve and the community that we live in. What I focus on is organizational development in 3 areas: hiring the right people, putting people in the right place, and building teamwork. Utilizing the tool StrengthsFinder, which is utilizing your top natural talents. What's something that gives you fulfillment, is very organic to you, to be your true self. It's really your happy lane and your best lane. So again, it's really not just the tools, but really implementing to really impact your lives and the lives around you. So implementation and application is so huge. It's really where my passion is in that, to give that ripple effect.
That is awesome. And Tracy, tell us who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. I work for Partnership for Kids. It's a mentoring organization. We serve students in Omaha Public Schools, but my particular job is to recruit volunteers. I'm the volunteer resource director. So kind of what that means is I find the right person, hopefully, and find the right slot for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
it's
why did you choose this line of work?
You know, I have always liked finding those matches. It's matches in people, matches in potential. I believe in volunteering, obviously, and the idea that if someone has the capacity to give, I can find the right spot for them to give, if mentoring is their thing.
That is awesome, and mentoring is so important for the community.
Believe in it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Oanh, tell us, why did you choose your line of work? I love what you do as well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, mine's a twofold story. One is my own personal story, and one is what I saw happen to the youth I served with foster youth aging out of the system, so the organization that I worked for. My story started really when it was during major transition in my life. I had a lot of things happen, and for that midlife crisis I was having at the time, I decided I really needed meaning and purpose, and I really needed to be intentional about what it is that really brought meaning to me and could bring meaning to others. So I thought, well, what are my talents? And the sad thing was, believe it or not, at 40, I still had never taken any tests, and I really did not know my talents. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I do too, because I don't think you should wait till 40 to unpack those treasures. So when I looked at the StrengthsFinder to kind of think about, okay, what are some of my talents? What are some things that really would be meaningful to me? The second strength I saw was developer, which one of the ideas they said to explore was, and it's all about exploration, because I think the StrengthsFinder tool will give you a foundation, but really it's through that exploration to fine-tune, and that discovery to fine-tune what that is for you. But I saw developer and I said coaching was one of the things they suggested, and I thought, that's really neat, but my life is a mess. And I'm thinking, how can I help anybody else when my life is a mess? But I kept an open mind, and I explored it and took some courses, and I really found it to be very true. It came very natural to me. I really enjoyed it, but the best thing that I saw was when I used it to help my family and friends, I saw that they felt very blessed, and they lit up. So it lit me up. So it's so true. Those strengths really are our happy lane, is organic and true to ourselves. But the other part was when I went to go work with foster youth aging out of the system between the age of 19 and 21, and I saw how it impacted their lives, because I had already started embracing strengths, and now I started seeing that they were struggling with the same issues, besides a lot of other issues, being shifted from home to home to home, and then not getting adopted. So they had not only mindsets that were really kind of give them that kind of being stuck time in their life, but they really believed they didn't have gifts and talents. And so I saw similarities in my story and said, no, they do have gifts and talents. So I utilized my own strengths to kind of draw them out first, And then I drew within them, from the core, their strengths, and spoke life into them. And that's kind of like what eventually moved them by saying, yes, I see you have this strength, and this is what you could offer an employer. And then it's that confidence and that belief eventually that changed them. And they did move, and we ended up piloting a very unique training, and they all got placed except for one youth that kind of ran away, which we couldn't help. But truly, I realized it does start with me and then the organization, because I had to use my woo and connectedness to convince them to come out, because they would keep canceling, because in their mindset, I can't do this, right? But so I used the woo and saying, yes, I believe you can do it, win them over to saying you do have gifts and talents, and the connectedness, I connected deeply and connected to their strengths and pulled those things out. But it started with me, and then I pulled out their strengths, and again, it's that ripple effect that I'm talking about.
That is amazing. That's awesome. And Tracy, you hired Juan to come work with your organization. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we were looking at, we have within our organization, we had a couple of teams that come together that work always together. We work on people giving time, talents, resources. And so those two teams came together, and Juan helped us look at our individual strengths and how to really better work together. You know, we're working together constantly. Are we utilizing our strengths in the best way? Are we using our talents in the best way? And if we think about that collectively, we can really do a much better job by using those strengths.
Absolutely. And so how does she help your team build synergy?
One of the things I thought was really, I just hadn't expected how much value it offered, but she kind of created a map of where within that team everyone fell, and we could see really our strengths collectively. And areas that we needed to build on. So that was very helpful. It let me know maybe some questions I had about why we might not be as effective in this area, or why we're going gangbusters in another area. The other thing that was kind of a surprise was each one of us has interfaces with obviously our boss. And it was really kind of a light in our minds when she talked a little bit about her strengths, and that helped us to better navigate how to work with her. And I wasn't expecting that to really be one of those benefits, but each one of us directly reports to her in some way, shape, or form, and how she operates helps us figure out how we can operate the best with her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Why is it important for an organization to build teamwork?
Well, you know, I think that if you were to look at today across the board, whether you work for a profit or nonprofit, everybody's doing less or doing more with less. And the workload never reduces, it always builds. And it's just the way, it's really the nature of work today. So I think if we can all work together in the best way possible, we're much more efficient. We're going to be happier with one another and happier with the results. For a mentoring organization, the most important thing really is that we're able to serve kids. And so ultimately, I guess what I could say is that we're able to serve kids in a better way, a more impactful way, and we're able to serve more kids if we're more efficient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Juan, tell us, how does building teamwork affect the bottom line of an organization?
Well, Tracy kind of put it really well when she said, you know, people are trying to do more with less. Budget cuts, you know, just to get that bottom line more profitable. But if we look at some surveys, even according to Fierce here, 97% of employees and executives believe lack of alignment within a team impacts the outcome of a task or project. And 86% of employees and executives cite lack of collaboration or ineffectiveness communication for workplace failures. So it does affect the quality of the job that we do if we don't have that teamwork and that collaboration. But I find really it's always, you get a better product too, when everyone can truly utilize their talent to the best of their abilities.
And I think it's more fun.
Yes, engaging.
More
In fact, that's perfect that you mentioned that, because the next survey here talks about a winning team model, says trust, respect, understanding, and enjoy each other. That engagement that you're talking about. Absolutely. But for me, for the StrengthsFinder, I really believe, and I always say this when I go to train, understanding is so huge. Understanding how someone's wired, what someone's happy lane, because not everyone has all the strengths, right? But understanding that so that you're not judging that person. So then you can build that trust, because that person knows that you understand how they operate and you're honoring it, and you build that respect through that. Okay, but I love the part you said, engagement. That is so true too. Enjoy it. Let's have fun, because we do produce a better product when we're not all stressed out, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's say, what does that look like if a team was truly engaged? We're talking about bottom line again, okay? So if we go to Gallup, this is, if you have an engaged team, this is what you can expect. Profitability increased by 22%, productivity raises by 21%, earnings per share growth 47% increase, customer rating improves by 10%. Now there's some things that go down too as well. Reduction in quality defects, 41% goes down. High turnover, for those companies with high turnover, their turnover goes down by 25%. Companies with lower turnover, 65% goes down even furthermore. Decrease in accident, 50%, and then decrease in absentee, 37%. So it really does affect in so many ways, not even just the well-being of an individual, but the bottom line of an organization.
Wow, those are some phenomenal stats. Tracy, so when Juan came in to do the workshop, tell us, what was your favorite part of the workshop that she did with your organization?
You know, it was really fun when she had us go. We each wrote something about a coworker, and you know, we don't pause very often, which is unfortunate. Again, maybe it's in the busyness of things to notice what the strengths are in others and really kind of compliment them on it. I thought that was really a fun way to affirm strengths, but also have everyone feel kind of special. And that was part of the nature of this retreat, was to get away from the office, feel a little special, and to learn a little bit about ourselves and our work together. But that little activity, I just saw people light up, and you know, that was one of my goals, is a little bit more fun. And it really was a neat activity that I think went over really well.
And how did this workshop benefit the organization overall?
You know, one of the things that we're doing in recruitment, we always are, within Partnership for Kids, we're always expanding. So our numbers change. We need more volunteers to serve more students. And that's kind of an ongoing thing. But something that really is critical is that we are able to figure out how to recruit most effectively, and that it can't be just a couple people that are doing that job. So one of the things that we've done is we've taken all of our staff, because everyone's responsible to help with the recruitment area. We've divided them up, and each one of my team is a lead for a certain person. But we're looking at, and this is a process, we're looking at what are their strengths, that's our team members, other team members, and how can we more effectively work within those strengths to help them recruit other volunteers. So it just really expands that ripple effect, I think, that you said. It allows us to be able to kind of highlight what they can do to help us with recruitment, and generally help the whole organization and ultimately affect the students. That's the real key here.
Yeah.
Wow, what wonderful benefits. And so, Juan, how else can Partnership for Kids utilize strengths moving forward to benefit the organization?
Well, Tracy did a great job in applying, you know, how, because their recruitment team is small, how do they do that organizational wide? And I love that, because it's true. Just because you may not have an influencing strength doesn't mean you can't use the relationship strength. So there's, but being organic and authentic to the way you operate is going to be the best way to do it. So I thought that was really neat when I heard that you guys were doing that. But really overall, it's always development, right? Personally, ourselves. Because the more aware we are, how unique we are, we can accept someone else as different. But without that, it's really hard for us to see from other lenses. We have to see our lenses clearly first, and then we're able to see how everybody else is different. Because when you do look at your own lenses, sometimes it's hard reality, but then you know that you're not perfect and you don't have everything, and that's why we need each other. You know, we're built to be a body. We're better together. You know, but really for partnership, it's just to develop personally and then start applying it to their own lives. Like, be very intentional, set goals with them, and then eventually, since they're a mentoring organization, they don't just take it within their staff, but take it out to the schools and the kids that they mentor. So again, that ripple effect, right? But it does start with you first.
Absolutely. So, Juan, you're going to give us an example of what actually took place during training, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to put Tracy on the hot seat a little bit, but
Of course you are.
so tell me a little bit, if you were to hire or add to your team, what would you think you would need?
You know, it's interesting because I think my natural thought isn't necessarily my best thought because of what I know now.
Okay.
Part of recruiting is really kind of winning others over. So,
Right.
but I also know that too many people that are winning others over, it can be a bad combination. So something I would think right off is, obviously I need someone that had woo, lots of woo. But that's not always the best strategy. So I would want to look at my team and what would be the best balance there to help kind of round us out. You know, we each have strengths and they're very distinctly different, very distinctly unique, but they all bring something to the table. And what would be a complementary strength if we were ever to hire somebody
Right.
else? What would be that complement?
Okay, so kind of balance out the team.
Absolutely.
But also, did you take a workshop? I thought that you realized there was some revelation for you that what was needed in recruitment besides woo.
Yeah, and again, I'm not so great at remembering each term, but you know, someone that would be able to strategize a little bit more would probably be helpful within the team.
Okay. All right, well, let me just kind of explain a little bit about the Gallup StrengthsFinder. First of all, I want you to know the tool. It took them 30 years to survey 1.8 million people to come up with the StrengthsFinder, to see all the talents, and they clustered it into 34 themes. And from those 34 themes, they put them under leadership style. Right. That basically, if you were to form a team, these are the 4 type of leadership styles that you need to make it happen. And it makes a lot of sense, like strategic thinking. You have to think it out. You have to have a plan, right? Then you have relationship building, which means you have to bring the people together to make it happen, right? And then influence, be able to market and sell the product or service, and then executing, be able to really walk it through and make sure it happens, right? So that makes a lot of sense. So what I did is I went ahead and took the partnership recruitment team and circled all the ones that...
So we've got executing and relationship pretty well covered.
Exactly.
Pretty good at strategic thinking.
Yeah, which is perfect. Relationship is really what it's all about, right? For working with the mentors and the youth. But, you know, influencing is another really probably important one to have because you're wanting to win people over to why it is such a great cause, why it is important to mentor. So I would say if you want to add something, that would definitely be one. But the executing is good. That means that you're going to follow through to what you do. And you actually have some strategic thinking. But maybe the only other thing, you know, you could add there is maybe the person to fill out is strategic, which means they could very purposely the best method, the best pattern to go about doing it to give that efficiency that you talked about because your team is kind of a smaller team. But in the influencing, maybe communication. It could be to truly be able to put it in a language different for the, you know, parents, different for the corporate worker, different for, you know, the retirees, a different language that really can speak into it as to why it is important to mentor. But yeah, a little bit more, you know, in the executing too as well, that could be really useful too. You know, in a ranger where they can do multiple things, multiple plates spinning, and they wouldn't be out of sort because that's very natural to them.
Be a good balance.
Right, because you know when you have a small staff and you have to do a lot, that would be another great addition. But I really love significance too, in influencing besides just the woo, be able to influence someone over to your beliefs. But significant is awesome because it's about big impact. This person feels the need to do that, and they can communicate that how someone can make that big impact and that ripple effect that we talk about. So those are some ideas of how to add to your team there. But so far, you have an amazing team, and I know your strengths when they put in here, if they are thrown in here, but I didn't because I just kind of took your employees there. But you guys do have a really amazing balance when your strengths are thrown into as well. But if you want to add, those are the ones I'd recommend.
And it's been interesting because I had kind of a hunch about that, but we've done a lot of work on strengths since the team has been formed.
Right.
But it just really helps to take a look at how are we using each other in a good way.
Right.
Using each other most effectively.
Yeah, and it's really truly about not just in, because I know when I coach, sometimes people are like, I wish I had this strength, that. It's not about that. We really all could do it, but are we going to be drained? Are we going to be fulfilled? And these truly are happy lanes, you know. Basically,
they give you
it's
energy.
what's going to be brings us joy and do it so naturally and true to self.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely, so true. Really, really good example there. Juan, give us your perspective on why is it important for every organization to go to the core to build teamwork?
Well, of course, we're more efficient, you know, but I think collectively we can always produce a better product. We're really not everyone's given everything. And if I even just give my own example today, I struggled internally because I have a plugged ear. And I realized it affected everything, like the body. We need every pieces, right, to work fully to really bring about the best product. Like today, I'm struggling because I couldn't taste because my ear was plugged, and I have no idea how I really sound. But you know, I'm giving my best effort because we learn to overcome, right?
Exactly.
But if everything was fully functioning, I could bring a better product. It's the same thing with, you know, teamwork. When we truly bring a best of everything and really live authentic to ourselves, we create an amazing, amazing product, not just for ourselves, our organization, but for bigger purpose. So that ripple effect is really huge when we bring our best.
Juan, what advice would you have for, say, a small business owner? And the small business owner wouldn't necessarily have the team, such as Partnership for Kids or another organization. Right. Maybe it's an individual, but they're needing to get some vendors to do some things that they just really don't have the skills to do. How could they utilize strengths in order to build, I guess, an external team around them of vendors that can help them move their businesses forward?
Absolutely. I totally understand that because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm solo,
so
I get it.
I get it
and,
too.
I mean, even just in our own example here, producing this show, you know, like I love recruiting people. And you used your relator and connectedness to really give content that really made sense from the viewer's eyes.
Yes.
So we all kind of utilize our lanes, and I felt it was effortless for you and effortless for me, but if I had to do what you did, I would be like, frustrated, right? And I wouldn't give the best product because your stuff was so much superior than what I could come up with in that area. You know, so authentically, I love recruiting. You probably hated it, right?
Yes.
so that's how it works. So as I realized I looked at my own strengths, and then I realized what areas I need to hire contractors, right?
Yes.
And the best way to do that is ask them to take the strengths. I mean, they can't require it, but you can ask them, and then that's how you compare. And then when you interview, you know, ask them the questions about their strengths to make sure they truly have embraced it, you know. And if that's the case, then it would be the right pairing for you, especially looking at, okay, if you're hiring for marketing, think about influencing strengths, you know, and relationship strengths, because that's really huge too. But if you're hiring for someone to really get it done, to knock out all these tasks that you have, maybe like an assistant, then you definitely want executing, right? So kind of think about some of those strengths, and you can read through what each of those themes are and just give some thought to it. And it's all about the combo. It really, that's where it takes a lot of time to get to know strengths, is that combo, what happens to that combo and how it morphs a person and how it changes and stuff like that. But also how much they've embraced it too. That makes a big difference too. And you can do that in the interview.
Well, one of the things when you work with me, Juan, that I really appreciate and I want our viewers to know is if you are talking to a person that's an individual such as myself that owns a small business, you can actually look at those strengths and give the person some advice on what would be a good combination of strengths to look for in, say, a vendor.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because I've worked and I've seen how strengths have manifested in so many people. So that combo too takes time to really understand. So yeah, I definitely can look at it, and to me it's crystal clear.
Yes.
But you know, might not always be to the employer, but I can explain it. I'll just explain why this would be a good fit too as well.
Yes, absolutely. So Juan, tell the viewers where they can find you and what it is that you could offer or other organizations such as Partnership for Kids or for entrepreneurs like me, what services you can offer them and where they can find you.
Yeah. So my 3 things are hiring the right people first, because that makes life a lot easier.
Yes.
Second of all, putting people in the right place so we're all in our happy lanes and we're really efficient and effective and impact our own community. And then the last is really building teamwork. So, okay, you've got everyone aligned, so how do you bring it together in a very powerful way? You can find out a little bit more. My website is COURE, COURE.guru, GURU, and then also on the Life Facebook, and then on COURE, just COURE Facebook as well.
Awesome. And Tracy, we've talked some about Partnership for Kids. If someone is interested in becoming a mentor, who do they need to contact at your organization?
Me.
You. That's awesome.
No, you could contact the website, www.p4k.org. We have if there's a link there to go right into the volunteer, describes the different volunteer possibilities, and you can even fill out like an interest form. Then we'll get back to you, sit down and have a conversation and see if your interests would be a good alignment for us. That's so important that it's a good fit.
And what areas of the community do you serve?
We're strictly within the Omaha Public Schools. We serve about 5,400 students within that school district. We're in a number of schools, 12 elementary schools, 5 middle schools, 5 high schools, and as of I think today we have 409 volunteers working with us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just curious, are there any plans for expansion into other communities in the next 5 to 10 years?
We've looked at that. I think a lot of it is just what's our capacity. And that kind of expansion would take a lot more people. So that that would be something. But we have done quite a bit of expanding within the Omaha School District. 6th grade is now middle school, so that's been a large expansion for us. We have Norris Middle School and South High School are very large. We have a large number of students in both of those schools, so we've added groups there. We added a new elementary school this year, so we've done a lot of expanding within the school district.
That is awesome.
Well, thank you.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. Thank you, Juan, and thank you,
My
Tracy.
pleasure.
This has been a wonderful conversation that we've had about this topic. Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for watching. And if you would like to know more about building teamwork, check out the Life Facebook page, and may you live fully empowered.